Are we ready? Havad Kalirna Prabhavet Pravishto Priya Sarvataha Yavad Isho Mahan Udyam Abhimanya Va Ekarat Havad Kalirna Prabhavet Pravishto Priya Sarvataha Yavat Isho Mahan Udyam Abhimanya Va Ekarat Havad Kalirna Prabhavet Pravishto Priya Sarvataha Yavat Isho Mahan Udyam Abhimanya Ekarat. Anybody else like to share?
Kalirna Prabhave, Kalirna Prabhave, Pravishto Bihasarvata, Pravishto Bihasarvata, Yavadishto, Ishto Mahadarya, Abhimanya Vaekarat, Abhimanya Vaekarat, Savat Kalirna Prabhave, Savat Kalirna Prabhave, Pravishto Bihasarvata,
Pravishto Bihasarvataha
Yavadishto Mahadarya, Abhimanya Vaekarat, Abhimanya.
Would you like to give it a try?
Bhavat Kalina Prabhavet,
Yavat Kalirna Prabhavet
Pravishto Piha Sarvata,
Pravishto Bihasarvataha
Yavadiso Mahadarya,
Yavadisho Mahadhuryam
Abhimanyava Ekarat,
Abhimanya Ekarat. Very good. Tavat,
Savat
so long. Kali,
Kali,
the personality of Kali. Na, cannot. Prabhavet, flourish. Pravishta, entered in. Api, even though. Iha, here. Sarvata, everywhere. Yavat, as long as. Isha, the Lord. Mahan, great. Uvyam, powerful. Abhimanya, son of Abhimanyu. Ekarat, the one emperor. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As long as the great powerful son of Abhimanyu remains the emperor of the world, there is no chance that the personality of Kali will flourish. So that son of Abhimanyu is Parikshit Maharaj. Purport, as we have already explained, the personality of Kali had entered the jurisdiction of this earth long ago, and he was looking for an opportunity to spread his influence all over the world, but he could not do so satisfactorily due to the presence of Maharaj Parikshit. That is the way of good government. The disturbing elements, like the personality of Kali, will always try to extend their nefarious activities, but it is the duty of the able state to check them by all means. Although Maharaj Parikshit allotted places for the personality of Kali, at the same time he gave no chance for the citizens to be swayed by the personality of Kali. Omiyanatamandasya Ginandina Sabakaya Chakshramalisam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurve Nama Mukram Kotavatavan Pangamun Haite Grimyat Kripatalaham Sri Gurum Dinatadana Vanchakapatibhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Dhanam Bhavanevya Vaishnavevya Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This word pravishta, entered in. So Kali was trying to enter, but Kali couldn't enter because there was a powerful Pariksit Maharaj. Now we don't have any powerful leaders, so Kali's all over the place, infiltrated, entering everywhere, every nook and corner of the planet. But we fortunately have this Hare Krishna movement. Kali's trying to enter. We got to be careful. Individually also, Kali's and Maya is trying to enter, so we got to be very careful. Now there's a verse, Pravishtakarna Randrenam Svanam Hava Suram Dunoti Salam Krishna Itasharat, that the literary incarnation of Krishna enters into the heart of the self-realized devotee. There it sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship with Krishna and cleanses it of all lust and greed and anger. Thus it acts like autumnal rain upon muddy pools of water. Beautiful verse. So the heart is compared to a lotus flower. When we get purified, then there's this literary incarnation. It sits on the lotus flower of our loving relationship with Krishna, and it acts like autumnal rain upon muddy pools of water. Just like here, in the there might be some hole in the cement, right, and some dirt might get in there, right, and the rain comes, and what happens immediately? It's mud, right? Immediately. But if more and more rain comes, then eventually you get pure distilled water, right? So now there's some mud. We became very dirty, having come to the material world. So there's muddy heart. So now by this hearing and chanting, hearing and chanting, eventually all the mud, the dirt gets cleansed out, and all you have is clear, distilled, pure consciousness. It's like I was somewhere here in California. There was a river. It was deep. It was like 8 feet deep, but it was completely clean. You could see to the bottom. Like, wow, that's like generally you don't see it like that, especially in India. Right? But here also the rivers are pretty. But I mean, I saw that. It's like, wow, that's called transparent. So we want to have transparent consciousness, pure consciousness, and that comes by this hearing. And yeah, I was just listening to a lecture. Prabhupada said we should try to focus on being Krishna conscious and be careful because Maya is right there, ready to come right in. As soon as we become a little inattentive, we start doing nonsense, and Maya enters and creates all kinds of havoc. So we have to follow the instructions of Kartam Isha. Anybody know Kartam Isha? Kartam Isha means the boss. That's Krishna. There's a lot of CEOs, especially here in this area, right? A lot of companies, but they always have a representative. And if a representative of the company says to the CEO, "This guy over here, he's good. He's a good person here in your company," and then he takes note of that. A little snapshot, Oh, okay, he's good. So we can't go directly to Kartamisha, but we go through the representative. And if we're good servants, then the guru, the representative, says to Krishna, "Krishna, he's good. He's good." Krishna takes a snapshot. Oh, okay, it's good. So this is the path. By serving the spiritual master, we please Krishna. By pleasing the devotees, we please Krishna. Therefore, it's stated, Mahat Sevam dvaram ahori muktes, tamo dvaram yositam sangi sangam, mahantaste samuchita prasanta, vimanyava sura salavoye. That by serving the devotees of the Lord, we matsevam dwaram, see again this word, the two words, dwaram and door. Same word, Sanskrit, dwaram, English, door. There's so many words like that. You can see how our language is coming from Sanskrit. So Mahat Sevam, by serving the devotees, the door to the spiritual world is opened. This is how to enter into the spiritual, by service to devotees. Mahat Sevam Dvoram Tamo Dvoram Yosi. But serving those persons who are materialistically inclined, then the door to hell is opened. We don't want to go through that. We've gone through that door before. We're trying to escape. We're trying to get out of that. Been there too long, right? So now we're trying to enter into the pure atmosphere of Krishna consciousness, and that's by service. Tamodvaram yositam sang mahantaste. And what is the quality of the devotee? Mahantaste samachita. He sees everyone equally. He sees everyone is a soul. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the different modes of nature. So the person who is able to see the same, the soul within everyone, yeah, same, that he's the mode of goodness. And the mode of passion, he sees different types of souls in different bodies. And the mode of ignorance doesn't see the soul at all. So, like there's one pastime Prabhupada in Chicago. There was one man who was coming, a young man, but he was big. I mean, maybe 350 pounds or something like that, big. And one devotee introduced him to Prabhupada, and the devotee said to Prabhupada, "Pretty big boy, eh, Prabhupada?" And Prabhupada said, "He's no bigger than you are. You don't weigh anything, nor does he. The soul doesn't, you can't weigh the soul." But he was seeing the body, and Prabhupada's looking through, he sees the soul. And Prabhupada was very compassionate. He could, in Hawaii, there was one devotee who was a servant to Prabhupada, and there was one unusual bug. And Prabhupada, "Look at this unusual bug." And Prabhupada was looking at it. And then Prabhupada said, "Chant to the poor thing." Because he didn't see it as a bug. Prabhupada saw it's a soul. And the super soul is there too. The super soul is pleased when we see samachita, we see equally, you see. It's not easy like on book distribution, we see so many different types of people. Of course, we discriminate. Younger people are generally a little more inclined. As Prabhupada said, it's hard to bend an old branch. It's hard to bend an old branch or to teach old dogs new tricks. They're pretty much sometimes they're set in their ways. So we discriminate a little bit, but in general, if there's nobody there, then we shouldn't discriminate. It's like I was in the airport in Miami, distributing books, and there's a type of people that would come through with like $1,000 suit, the businessmen, the hardcore businessmen, and generally we would just let them go, just like because they let us go. But there was no one there, but this one businessman coming through, with this $1,000 suit. And I thought, well, you never know. So I said, "Excuse me." And he stopped, and I was surprised. So I started showing him the Bhagavad Gita. He said, "Well, this is I'm into this stuff. This is good. I've heard of the Bhagavad Gita." And he just turned out to be the nicest guy the whole day. Yeah. So and he gave a nice donation. He's just a real gentleman, So generally, it's not like that, but you never know. Surprise. Sometimes we're surprised on book distribution. You think, this person's not going to take, but then he turns out to be very interesting. Another person you think, this will be interesting. Now I get away, don't bother me. Is it? So you never know. Samachita. Mahat Sevan Dvor Mahor Tamo Dvor Myosi Mahantas de Samachita Prashanta. Prashanta means peaceful. Right? Shanti, peaceful. So a devotee is peaceful. Yeah. This is Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakliya Shanta. Devotees are peaceful. Why? No material desires. They want to serve Krishna. But bhukti, the people that have material desires, people are very attached. They get feverish. Their eyes get, they're red. They get so they become. You can just see the attachment. In their whole demeanor, their whole body language. They're attached. They lose the peace. Yeah, we get too attached. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya, he came to teach Vairagya Vidya Nitya Bhakti Yoga, Siksarthameka Purushapra, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Kripambhadya Yastam Aham Bhapadye. He came to teach detachment, Vairagya Vidya and knowledge. So detachment, it's important because we want to become attached to Krishna. But if we're attached to so many things in this world, then it's difficult to be attached to Krishna. Of course, we can be attached to things in this world that we're usually using in the service of Krishna. That's okay. Like I was just reading, it's very interesting. We there's a statement, Yashyahamanugrami, Harisita Dinamshanai, that Krishna, to show special mercy to his devotee, he takes everything away. But Prabhupada, I just read in the purport, Prabhupada said, actually higher than that is where a devotee has a material opulence, but he knows everything belongs to Krishna, and he uses it in the service of Krishna. That's higher. That's actually higher renunciation. It's yukta vairagya, utilizing everything that can be utilized in the service of Krishna. Yeah. So Krishna, he's also such a person. Even he may be very opulent, like Prabhupada. He was a multi-millionaire, but he knew everything belongs to Krishna. Therefore, Prabhupada was frugal. This word frugal? Yeah. Very, very attentive that nothing is wasted. Even they would be on walks, morning walks, and someone's water faucet would be on in the lawn, the house, and probably to go turn that off. They're wasting Krishna's energy. It's amazing. Or someone would bring a check to Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, and someone brought a big donation. And Prabhupada asked his servant, find out which is cheaper, to send a rickshaw to the bank or to send it by mail. And we're talking about pice. We don't even know what pice is anymore. Pice, like a cent. You want to see which one is it 2 cents there or is it 4 cents there? Yeah, it's like amazing, very. And when he was coming to America on the Jaladuta, he had a diary, and he was saying everything. Or when he got to New York, also he was telling everything that was going on, and how much he was spending. Of course, on the boat he wasn't spending anything, but when he got to New York, every 10 cents for this, 50 cents for this. Today we got $7 donation, from they had the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday classes. So everything was put down. He's a good bookkeeper. Like when Samasundar came, when he joined the movement, they had this big concert actually right here in San Francisco, and Moby Grape and Grateful Dead and these groups are there. And they made a pretty good amount of money. Back then, I think it was like $2,000, but this is '67, so that's probably I don't know $20,000 now or something. A lot of money. So Prabhupada asked Shyamacharya, "Do you know how to do bookkeeping?" I never did bookkeeping in my life, Prabhupada. All right, I'm going to train you. Prabhupada was a businessman. What a perfect combination. He's a pure devotee and he's a businessman. Just like when they got some big donations in New York, and Prabhupada was here in San Francisco, and there was one person that was trying to sell them a building that they were going to use as a temple, but he was a big con man. He would address Prabhupada as Your Highness, and Prabhupada said, "It's a sign of a thief. Too much devotion is a sign of a thief. So if you watch that guy." And sure enough, we got cheated. I think it was $5,000 or something. Yeah. And so they called Prabhupada. Prabhupada, he's cheated us. We gave him a check, and now we don't know what happened. Prabhupada said, "Go to the bank, cancel the check." So the devotee said, "Oh, Prabhupada, sharp, I mean, go to the bank." But when they got there, he had already cashed it. But anyway, we got when Prabhupada went back to New York. He said, "Tell Mr. Con Man Fraud that I'm coming back. Let him know." And then he got scared. Actually, we got most of the money back, but we lost some. Prabhupada said that whenever you're dealing with a snake, you could know for certain you're gonna lose something. Yeah. So so Prabhupada said you should learn from this. You have to be careful when you're dealing with people. So Mahantaste samachita prashanta vimanyava. Don't become angry. A devotee is he doesn't become angry. Prabhupada actually mentions in the word for word in this verse, a devotee does not become angry when spreading Krishna consciousness. Because sometimes it could be, people can agitate you. That's why book distribution it can be an austerity. Why? Because we're dealing with people. And people, it's like we know that there's that one verse that Prayana Payapasava Kalavas Minijay Manda Samanda Mati Manda Bhaga Yabhadu. That in this age of Kali, people are short-lived, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. So we're dealing with people that are always disturbed. So because sometimes they do things that it can be disturbing, but a devotee doesn't get angry. Shanti, peaceful. And therefore, in book distribution, as I travel around and preach about book distribution, I tell them the golden rule. You know the golden rule? Anybody know the golden rule of book distribution?
Leave them with a good impression.
Huh?
Leave them with a good impression.
Yes. Everybody walks away with a good impression. If they don't take a book, at least they walk away with a smile that they've met a nice person. And that gives way for them getting a book later on, if there's a nice experience. Right? But we don't want people to leave with a bad experience. I was just speaking to Vaisheshika Prabhu yesterday, our early days of book distribution. And we were wild back then, because we were new. We didn't know how to do it. Just like now, if you become a book distributor, there's some training. You know what to do. Like the thing, this golden rule. We never heard that rule. That didn't exist. Just get them to take a book and get money from them. By hook or by crook. Actually, Prabhupada used that phrase, by hook or by crook. But devotees didn't know what that actually meant. Here in the West, a hook or crook, that means, whatever it takes, just get it, get the money and get them to take a book, But by hook or by crook, it actually means it comes from England. If you want to get some fruit, you get a hook, and you bring there's a fence there, and you get a hook, by hook or by crook, you get the fruit. That was not that you try to cheat somebody. But that's the way the devotees took it. So, no, we have to be a perfect gentleman. Prabhupada said that's the definition of a devotee, a perfect gentleman. So we have good examples, especially here we have such a good example. Vaisheshika Prabhu. It's like we have an entrance mantra. Excuse me, I'm from California. Where are you from? Or I'm from Germany. Where are you from? I'm from India. Where are you from? Little introduction. And if they don't take a book, he has an exit mantra. Now, I never heard of an exit mantra. So his exit mantra is, it's been a pleasure meeting you. It's been so nice meeting you. Thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. If they take a book or they don't take a book, especially when they don't take a book, that's when you really, and it has to come from the heart. That's the difficult part, from the heart. I want to thank you so much for giving me your time, and yeah, have a nice day. So, such a perfect gentleman, such a good example. Unfortunately, now he's the minister of book distribution and the global coordinator for book distribution. So he's got it all covered. Fortunately, actually, for over 10 years, I've been trying to get him to be the minister. And when Navina Nirda, he was a minister before, and then he gave it up. The GBC first went to Vaisheshika Prabhu because they knew he's the most qualified. But he said no. For some, I don't know why. And then they went to Brigapati. They thought, well, he's the next most qualified. He also didn't take it. And I became minister by default. There was nobody else to go to. All right, let's Vijaya, you want? All right, I'll try. Because I was brahmachari, and it means you travel a lot. I was actually traveling like 7 months out of the year, just traveling around the world. But your household is a little more difficult. He had responsibility. He's temple president of Vaisheshika, but now I guess he thought, now because I think because now there's a lot of Zoom and internet, and he's able to get out to the world, and now it's like we have this Vajra campaign. He's covering the world with that for the past years. How many years? 2 years?
2020 it began.
3 years?
20, I think 5 years.
5 years. Oh yeah, 5 years. So, and it's fantastic. So many sets, so many books going out. Such an inspiration. So yeah, he's a great example. And there was one. This verse talks about anger. So there's one devotee was given a talk. It was his Vyas Puja by Seskipu Maharaj's Vyas Puja. And this devotee had been around by Seskipu quite a bit. He said, I only saw him get angry one time, and it wasn't like heavy anger. And he'd known him for a long time. Because I think there was the driver spaced out for 5 hours. They had to drive around. Remember that? Yes. Yeah. So Japan or something, yeah. So I saw him get angry a little bit. So he's just like very controlled, very cool-minded. So yeah, a good example for us to follow. So the Manjima Surda Sadhava, a friendly Surda Sadhava, he's friendly to all the entities. Yeah. There are many places in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that Krishna is pleased when we're friendly to others. There's a verse that in the Srimad Bhagavatam it says that Krishna is very quickly pleased when we're dayaya sarabhutesya, we're compassionate to others. Dayaya sarabhut santasya yena kenava. It means that we're satisfied in Krishna consciousness. We don't look elsewhere. We're not interested in all the nonsense going on in the material world. The movies and, the Facebook and scrolling and, people spend hours scrolling, trying to find something interesting, but they're going to have a hard time because there's nothing interesting in this world. You want to find something interesting, you got to go back to the spiritual world. You got to go back to Krishna. That's interesting. Here, eventually, everything becomes boring, isn't it? Eventually. In the beginning, there may be something a little interesting, something nice, but eventually, same old thing. Been there, done it. Isn't it? That's the nature of this world. Eventually, it gets old. But in Krishna consciousness, no. So we should be satisfied. Yeah. Daya sarvu santasya nikeva. Vimanya, no. Daya sarvu desu santasya nikeva. Sarvendriya prashantyacha. Tushat yasi jinardana. And if we control our senses, the senses are pulling here and they're pulling there. If we control our senses and engage our senses in the service of Krishna, Krishna is very pleased. Kamarinam katina katida palita dorni tesa. Tesam jatam in kurunatro. That for so long I've been the humble, menial servant of many bad masters. Lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, and madness. Yeah. So everyone is serving these masters, and it's never before has been so much stress, yeah, so much anxiety, and therefore this mature world is called Kunta. Kunta, it's a place of anxiety. They're thinking that by satisfying their senses they'll be satisfied, but no. We're not our senses. Evam Bude Parang Budva Samstabhyatmana Jatmana. Krishna says, no, Evam Bude Parang Samstabhyatmana. He says, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence, one should steady oneself by carefully engaging in Krishna consciousness and slay this formidable enemy known as lust. So Krishna says that we have to be very careful. It's like when we're driving down the street, we're careful. It's dangerous. How many people die every year in this country? 40,000 people a year. It's a dangerous place. You got to be very careful. You know, whatever it is that we're doing, we have to be very careful. The Prabhupada said an advanced devotee will be very diligent in the details of his devotional service. Everything should be very carefully done. And Krishna appreciates that. And he's quickly pleased. Compassion is dayaya sarvabhutesu. Compassion is a difficult one because we're born in this world bewildered by the dualities arising from desire and hate. Practically born in this world, the hate. Like Prabhupada tells of this one man, he had a son. And when the son got to be a certain age, his son would attack him. He would attack him. He got to be about 7 or so, he would attack him. And he was, imagine, that'd be pretty shocking, your son's attacking, he didn't know what to do. So finally he had to put him in an institution because he would just attack him. It's weird, people have different weird consciousness, past life, maybe it was an enemy in a past life or something, So you had to take him to an institute. And he would go and visit him, hoping that maybe it's over now. But no, still, even when he would go visit, he would go to attack him. Amazing. Huh? Born in this world, bewildered by the duality, of course, that's an extreme hate, to hate your father like that. Of course, in Kali Yuga, there's a lot of people have fathers that aren't very likable. Like in the West, it's very common for us to rebel. India, it's not so common, isn't it? It's rare, probably, isn't it? To rebel. It's picking up now. They're rebelling now. The West is moving in more and more, and they're rebelling more and more. But it's a very common thing in America. You rebel. I was on book distribution in San Diego, and this one man came by with his daughter and wife, and I had my yoga and meditation, and he said, "Would that help my daughter?" She never listens to me. Never listens to me. Just ignores me. Guy's fried, you know. So that's one of the advantages of being brahmachari. Many advantages, actually. So, yeah. But that was our original problem, is we rebelled our Supreme Father. We decided, well, I'd like to try to have that position of Paramishvara. Big mistake. And we're paying for that. But now, hopefully we've learned our lesson. There's only one Param Ishvara. We're also Ishvaras, but we're the teeny weeny little. Hridayananda Maharaj, he gave me a nickname, Vijaya. Vijaya, little Jai. Small, we're small. We're very small controllers. And we want to be instruments of the Paramishvara, Krishna. We want to do his will, whatever he wants. As Prabhupada says, he quotes one British poet. He says, ours is not to ask why, but to do and to die. They had a lot of courage. And therefore Prabhupada said that my devotees, they should have the heart of a Bengali mother and the courage of a British soldier. They had a lot of courage, and therefore they were able to conquer all over the world. Of course, they messed up a lot of places. That's another thing. Krishna smashed that. They were they offended India too much. Yeah. The people of India too much. They went too far. When they went to India, it was too much. Made big mistakes. So, is there any question or comment? Yes, Prabhu.
I really appreciated your comment about by hook or by crook. You know, I just had a quick thought, which was I was studying the history of nature, and so I came to understand that it was one of the laws of the land by hook or by crook. And another law is the right to wonder. So I was thinking that it connects to like Krishna's mood that he will uh, preserve what we have and take away what we lack. So this mood of always providing for the devotees, and I was just really appreciating that Prabhupada had that faith that Krishna would provide everything if we're doing service for him.
Yeah.
And I see so many devotees have that love, and I'm just appreciating that and hoping someday I can develop full faith in that.
Well, you're on the journey. You're on the path.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Kali is trying to come into our lives. Is the devotee, when they're practicing and well situated outside of Kali, within this world?
Say that again.
You mentioned that Kali is trying to come in.
Yeah.
Is the devotee outside of Kali when well situated?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, he's outside of Kali and Kali's outside of him when we're well situated. Chanting our 16 rounds and following the regular principles and doing seva, then Maya can't move in. But we have to be careful. Maya is very subtle. Kali is very subtle. So any inattention, she'll move. It begins with the mind. The mind is subtle, so that's how Maya enters. This desire to enjoy. Comes from desire. Therefore, Krishna, he says, while contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment for them. From such attachment, lust develops. From lust, anger. From anger, delusion. From delusion, bewilderment and memory. When the memory is bewildered, the intelligence is lost. And when the intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material. But it all begins with desire. So we have to be careful. desire management. Right? There's time management, right? There's business management, desire management. It gets more subtle, right? Desire management. There's certain desires that we want to keep and cherish and never let go, and other desires we want to get rid of immediately. And the best way to get rid of them is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. This will protect us from Maya, from Kali. Okay. Anything else? Anything online? Or is it on mute?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanyavad Pranam. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for beautiful lesson and reflection. 3 points I noted. I want to reflect more and go deep.
Oh, the volume is down.
Sorry.
Okay.
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Okay, go ahead.
First is the impression, like keep the ending good impression, right impression while you're serving, even if the person receives or not, even if it's book or prasadam or anything. And the second one was there is nothing interesting in this world. And that's very true while taking the journey and slowly growing and seeing every day is and new exciting in Krishna consciousness, something new to learn, something depth to go. So it's more exciting here. And it's very true that nothing exciting in the material world. Third is to serve the devotee, to get out of the material world. Serve everyone, but focus on devotees a lot. Like those are the one who will really. Those three. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you. Yeah, if we please the devotees, we're opening the door to the spiritual world. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.